What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code DC, UPenn's finest. For this episode, Chris, it's almost like they subbed out. Chris has the wedding, of course, so congrats to, his people and whatnot, but it'll just be me and Danny for this NFL Week 4 preview. We'll be talking about some of the top games this week. Obviously, Chiefs and Ravens are the highlight of the week, and we'll get right to that. But, of course, before we get there, make sure we leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and then audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review, anything to keep the algorithm going. But, yeah, let's get right into the motion of things. Week 4 preview, we will start with Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson, of course. Danny, $1 million question. Yeah, I mean, if we had a peak preview of the week, this would absolutely be the one. So we're just going to get it cracking right with this one. $1 million question. I feel like I know your answer too, but what team cannot afford to fall to 1-3 this week?
It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And
I don't know your answer. Never mind.
The Kansas City Chiefs will not make the playoffs if they fall to 1-3. And it's not on Patrick Mahomes. It's on the fact that this defense looks bad for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
And not only does the defense look bad, but the offense outside of his defense, it's just Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster. Granted, they might be getting Rashee Rice back at some capacity in like week 7, but it might be too late by then.
I don't think so. I entirely disagree. I think they can kind of get away with a 1-3 start, given who they've lost to and given the current situation of their receiver room. I don't even think their defense was bad week 1 for sure, but they did fine against Philly. Granted, Philly has its own offensive issues, at least at that time. And the Giants are the Giants, whatever. But this will be, I guess, the biggest test for their defense so far. So I can get behind you on that one. And I do kind of see your point of view, but I guess I would have to let's look at the Chiefs schedule together. Chiefs schedule.
Really, really rough, dude.
They lose this one and they start 1-3. They'll have Jaguars, Lions, Raiders. Well, they'll have Jaguars, Lions without Rice, and they might get Worthy back in that time frame too, which could be enough. But the Jaguars is a winnable game with or without those guys, and then the Lions. That's going to be a tough out, of course. But then I feel as if for this team, once they get Rice back, who last time we seen him play was looking like a true number one, you add Worthy into the mix. I think you're starting to we're getting some decent things going around Mahomes. The reason I say it's the Ravens though is because 1-3. 1-3 at this rate, it's just it's not a fluke of losses, I guess you could say. Because if this offense manages to burn you, no Worthy, no Rice, and probably the worst running back room in the NFL, then your defense is in real trouble. It is in serious trouble. The offense has been fine. They've been great. But this defense at this point is just a bunch of names. They're names with no substance. So, but I do see your point of view. The more we talked about it, I definitely can see why you think the Chiefs. I think they can still make playoffs at 1-3 because at the end of the day, they do have the baby goat. But
yeah, I believe
things go up from here.
I don't think any team's ever made the playoffs after starting 0-3.
After starting 0-3?
Yeah.
I believe it's like 4 teams.
It's 2 or it's like a really small number if it is 1. They brought it up recently.
I literally just looked this up the other day. And 0-3 made the playoffs. Yeah, it's saying since 1990, since they expanded to the 12-team playoff, just 4 teams, or 2.4% of such teams, end up making the playoffs. None have made the Super Bowl. The last time someone has done it was 2018 Texans, and they were led by what was it, a
All of
rookie?
them were bounced in.
Deshaun Watson, maybe, but
All of them were bounced in like very early.
yeah, like these were no substantial teams, and I mean, I don't know if we look at this Chiefs team and just automatically assume they're a contender to go win the Super Bowl. So we'll have to see. But they dodged the 0-3, luckily. But the one
They
and
dodged
three
0
is
and 3.
yeah,
1 and 3
which
is an
they
interesting
should
mark.
have, you know.
So I think the schedule for these two is an anomaly. But speaking on the Ravens' behalf, when you have Texans, Rams, Bears, there's a couple winnable games coming up after that. But like Texans and the Rams could give them some like
I think the Bears are giving more trouble than the Texans.
yeah, and the Rams certainly will give them trouble. And then you
Yeah.
got teams like they should handle the Dolphins. You got the Vikings, the Browns who just beat them. I mean, the Browns who just beat the Packers, but like they should handle the Browns. Like you look at the back half of the Ravens schedule and you're like cake, cake, cake. Like if you go December onward, they have Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. They could win 5 or 6 right there. That's why I think the Ravens are in better shape. When you look at teams usually win in January when they're coming in playing good football in December.
Well, I think here's another issue though. Is they're fighting for two different things at this point. The Chiefs, they're 1-2. The Chargers are 3-0, all in division play. The Chiefs probably aren't going to win this division. If I had to put some money on, I would say the Chargers are going to end up winning it. They're just looking to get into these playoffs because you get into the dance, Mahomes can do anything. With the Ravens, they kind of need the 1 seed. They kind of need that bye. They need the home field advantage. And right now, they're
Lost that
chasing
already.
Buffalo. They're chasing Buffalo and LA bad right now. So
The Ravens are still minus 290 to win the AFC North, which is very interesting because I think that could, which if it with a loss, that shifts very heavily towards Pittsburgh's favor.
and that's another thing because I mean Pittsburgh's going to be steady down the road, and if you're just steady the rest of the way, if you're Baltimore, that's a problem. You're never going to catch up. And I can't even say I know what kind of football team Pittsburgh is right now because it's
I don't think
so
anyone does.
yeah, they're odd. I mean, not to say we know every team inside and out through 3 weeks of football. Of course not. But the Steelers are just weird, and I think you being a fan for 23 years, I think you would know. But yeah, they're weird. Especially with Rodgers, they're still adjusting to some things. Obviously, I mean, but we'll talk a little bit about them later. But yeah, I think the Ravens need to win this one. You think the Chiefs need to win this one. I think we both got good points on that one for sure. I thought it was easily the Ravens, but you definitely talked me. I definitely see why you think Chiefs though. So
the
I
Chiefs
can definitely get behind that pick.
I can see them spiraling really quickly.
I think I don't know if I want to like. Now, obviously, they can't lose every game without Rashee Rice. That's not acceptable. You can't be 1-5 when he comes back. No. But if they're like 2-4, and then he comes back, and they're still a crapshoot, then it's like okay, yeah. And now it's bad. But like I'm not ready to call it quits on them when they don't have their top 2 pass catchers.
I mean, they could be 9-8, and I still might. They might be favorites in a playoff game.
They were talking about some 7th seed Kansas City Chiefs heading into 2 seed Buffalo and beating them.
The funny part would be it'd be 1 seed Buffalo and it'd be 2 seed Ravens.
Look, it'd be hilarious, man, because that would really cement like he really is the LeBron to Brady's MJ, because it's like LeBron, you just had to get him into the dance in the East. He just had to get in there, and he'd make anything happen.
Yeah.
Mahomes, it's kind of the same deal.
I'm going to tell you something funny. The Colts are going to get the 2 seed in the AFC, winning 13 games or 12 games. They're going to get Mahomes in the first round.
It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be really bad.
It's going to suck, dude, because the Colts, I'm a big fan of what they got going on right now, even though I can't tell if I want to start Michael Pittman from a week-to-week basis. He's just too inconsistent. But
and then we're going to get Mahomes in Buffalo versus Josh Allen again.
Yeah.
I see it happening. It's already happening. The NFL
the script is written. The script is written. But let's we'll talk about the Steelers. Let's talk about it right now. First game ever. Where are we going again?
We're going to Ireland.
Ireland. Are you
I am not
going?
going to Ireland. I almost went. My dad wanted to go, but I'm not going.
But yeah, we have Steelers, Vikings, two of probably the most confusing teams in the NFL at the moment. Vikings because their quarterback has played like a whopping 8 quarters, and the last game was Carson Wentz and a complete defensive takeover. And then the Steelers, they
Not defense. It was Isaiah Rodgers
yes,
masterclass.
Isaiah Rodgers. Well, there's a lot of forced fumbles by the whole gang and whatnot, but even the Steelers have been pretty weird. You drop a lot of points and give up a lot of points in week 1. Week 2, you give up a lot of points and you don't string along as many points. And then week 3, it's a decent offensive output. You caused, I think, 5 turnovers, which 2 were in the red zone. Great stuff by the defense. But there's still some hiccups along the offense that I think they could work out. But yeah, this game is going to be starting. I
Quickly,
mean,
the
East
run
Coast
game.
guys, 9:30, 9:30 for the East Coast guys. Um, not nearly as early for the West Coast guys, but
Oh, even earlier.
I
What do you
mean,
mean?
not nearly as West Coast got it worse. That's my point.
Much worse.
That's what I mean. But yeah, this matchup is very intriguing to me, but I do want to swing it to you. 2-1 Vikings, 2-1 Steelers. Who do you think gains more getting to 3-1?
I think Pittsburgh gains more from being 3-1, and I say this because the Vikings have proven that with Sam Darnold, with guys like Kirk Cousins, with these middling quarterbacks, like Carson Wentz, in my opinion, could probably be put in the same category as quarterback as Kirk Cousins at this point in his career. Maybe
Yeah, I
that's
can agree
crazy.
with that. Yeah, that is crazy.
Kirk is better, but like I think they're both back half of league quarterbacks.
Carson Wentz is like one of the worst backups in the league.
I
They're
think they're both
entirely
backup
different.
quarterbacks.
Kirk, if I think if you probably put like Kirk just last year was holding off a first round pick, a top 10 pick for practically the whole year. Carson would have just lost that battle.
Oh yeah, he would have lost.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not the same.
It's
Anyway,
not the same. But my point is, Kevin O'Connell has taken them to playoffs. He's taken them. He knows how to call games. And this Vikings team is great. The defense with Brian Flores. They said the difference between Mike Tomlin and Brian Flores is Tomlin's going to run his base set and say, I'm going to let my players beat you. And Brian Flores said, I'm going to try to confuse you until my players actually can't make plays, which is pretty funny. Like Flores will literally rather die on his players not running the wrong scheme and running the wrong plays out of the scheme than having the right skill set, which is ironic because Tomlin does the exact opposite. And a lot of Steelers fans actually believe that Tomlin ran Flores out of town because he was scared that he was going to take his job.
I think the rare firing coach promoting somebody, I don't think that would have happened in Pittsburgh at the very least. But I do like the analogy you use. Brian Flores reminds me a lot of like a saying from like a show I like. It kind of goes like, how can you, if the king doesn't go first, how can you expect his subordinates to follow? It's kind of like Brian Flores. He's not out on that field, but he is leading the way. He's drawing up some crazy stuff, and the defense is just like, you know what? We'll go with it. We believe in you. So,
they run a nickel double mug AGAT all day. All day.
Who's doing it like him? But I agree with you. I think the Steelers definitely gain a lot more going to – well, I'll say they do gain more going to 3-1, especially with the state of Baltimore. And, just for getting ahead of the sticks, especially for a team that can fall into that 9-8, 10-7 range so easily. But I will say it's not the end of the world if the Vikings fall to 2-2,
Not at all.
If you split 2 games McCarthy's going to miss a bit of time, but a win would just be such a plus here. It's like we could lose the next 2 and just get McCarthy back, but winning 2 games with Carson Wentz at quarterback at this day in this current point of his career is definitely not bad. It would show that Kevin O'Connell is one of the best coaches in the game. But
yeah, and
what's
I
a
think,
specific? Oh, go ahead.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers need to win this game because of their next two, where they can set themselves up at going into their bye. If they can go 3-1 going into their bye, and then come back and then have the Browns on October 12th, which is a long time from now, so you get plenty of time to rest up, heal up, get Joey Porter back, get Deshaun Elliott back, get all of your guys healthy by October 12th. You get the Browns and the Bengals. Both games you should win. You should beat your division rival if you're a real team. And then you get if you start 5-1, if you win this game, you should start 5-1. And then you have the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers' first time playing the Packers in his career. Expectations are going to be an all-time high. So, in my opinion, this game is not a must-win. But if you're going to prove that you're a good team, go beat a team that has an elite defense. I think that my two critical factors of teams that are good teams, you either have to beat a team with an elite quarterback or an elite defense. And the Vikings have one of them.
Yeah. And the Steelers, I mean, just to this rate, time will tell on Drake May, but they haven't beat an elite quarterback yet. And I wouldn't say they beat an elite defense yet. So
the Patriots defense is solid. I don't say elite, but it's very good.
Yeah, I would say it's very good.
The encouraging signs were the Patriots were leading the league in sacks going into the game, and the Steelers allowed 0 sacks, and they allowed the least amount of pressures of the year for them, which was very encouraging after the offensive line hasn't looked great. So I think overall the team hasn't put together a holistic effort yet, but they can. They showed the O-line can be good in pieces. They showed that the defense can be good in pieces and force 5 turnovers. But can they all put it together all in one effort and go beat a team 30-0 like the Panthers?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you. Another first in the NFL outside of an Ireland matchup is Jackson Dart making his rookie debut against the Chargers. This but before I swing to you on any, the biggest pet peeve I have in the NFL is drafting a first round quarterback, saying we're just going to sit him, he's going to learn, we're going to use this bridge quarterback, and then the rookie starting by week 4 or 5. What was that for? What was 4 weeks of holding a clipboard ever going to do for him? It's stupid. Just you either you go for it and you sit him the entire season, or he maybe gets to play the last week of the season, or start him from day one. Start him from day one, because he's not going to learn anything substantial in 4 weeks holding a clipboard compared to him actually going to get the reps. So I don't know. That just makes me mad. But you have the 3-0 Chargers. Justin Herbert's looking like the leading
Chargers go! I had to do it.
Had to do it. Herbert leading the league in passing yards at the moment, on pace for potentially another 5K season. And then the rookie quarterback has to make his rookie debut against one of the most daunting defenses in the NFL so far this year, and Derwin James, who was I know he's all pro last year, but he's completely inserted himself back in that best safety in the realm kind of conversation. So
you know what?
Go ahead.
I think this is nightmare fuel for the Chargers.
It does give trap game. It does indeed give trap game.
And the reason I say this is because the Giants' strong point is their defensive line. The Chargers' O-line, outside of all with Slater hurt, can be exposed. You're talking about Abdul Carter and Brian Burns, who's a game wrecker. Brian Burns, in my opinion, is now a top 5 edge in the league. Let that be known.
Here's my only issue with that. Herbert handled a better defensive line last week, and that the Giants don't have Riley Moss and Pat Surtain sitting behind them.
I think
they have Deontay Banks.
The top 5. I think the Giants have better D-line.
I think they have a better interior.
You're not taking Abdul Carter and Brian Burns?
I don't think they've really schemed up a lot of stuff for Carter, and they've done some off-ball stuff with Carter that I really don't like. Like, I think at this point, just let him rush the passer. Please make things easier for him.
I don't like their
You know
scheme
what I
together.
mean?
They've run like 40% one high. Just go play two high shell and let your defensive line work. In my opinion, I think it's because they lack linebacker skill outside of Okereke.
Yeah, but I mean, like regardless, the defensive lines are certainly comparable. If you have New York, I totally get that, especially from like a Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns standpoint. But again, they don't have Alfonga, Moss, and Sertan behind them. And Herbert has just been carving up any secondary he's seen so far. But let me flip the script though. I'm gonna put you in the shoes of Brian Dable real quick. What
Quentin
are
Johnston's been
you?
carving up the safeties.
Yeah,
That's
he
why.
Freaky Friday CeeDee Lamb. But and he had a little contested catch.
Little 60-yard bomb. Who did he turn into? Maybe this is the guy I saw all along.
May perhaps I was too harsh on you. But I'm gonna put you in the shoes of Coach Dable real quick. Your starting quarterback is making his first start against one of the nastiest defenses in the NFL. What are you doing for Dart to make this game as easy as possible? Not expecting to walk out with a win. How can you just make his life easier heading into this week?
I think with Russell Wilson, we saw what he was in Pittsburgh at the end of the last year. Touchdown, check down, or nothing. That will not win you football games in the NFL. He used to be able to get away with it because he was running around, creating, and he is now 40 years old, borderline. He can't do that anymore. So Dable decided to turn the page and say, let's start the 23-year-old, the guy who actually can create plays, make a little off-platform throws. He might be able to have a little more zip on his balls, throw across the middle. That is what they need. Scheme Malik Neighbors across the middle. Don't have him just running these fade go balls like George Pickens. His career will be wasted in New York, and he will ask out of New York the same way Pickens went out of Pittsburgh within a year if you're just having him run go balls and having Dart throw him fades up the sideline. He will be out of New York, and he will be the next Saquon Barkley. If you don't want him to be the next Saquon, then you need to scheme him correctly.
Yeah, man. I absolutely agree. I know Neighbors. I don't think he practiced today because of a shoulder injury. So time will tell if he's playing. If he's not playing, then this
Wow.
is going to be a rough outing for Dart. I'm not going to lie. But
Scatterboo,
yeah, absolutely agree.
RB1.
I mean, Dable, just dive back into that 22 bag. We need RPOs. We need stuff that is just easy. A lot of pre-snap motion with Wandale, with even Scatabo. Like even just moving him from left to right is real easy stuff. And
I
like
love
Scatabo
their
is
skill group.
their
Skill
skill
group's
room
not
is it's
bad.
decent. It is decent. They've proven that they're capable of fireworks a little bit. I am
I'm
disappointed that
thinking their
Tyron
skill group
Tracy is
over
hurt.
Pittsburgh 100% of the time.
Well, yeah, because Neighbors like swallows your wide receiver room whole. So
Yeah, but I guess the tight end room it does makes up for that putrid tight end room they have in New York.
ever so slightly, yeah. But anyway, you won't have Tyrone Tracy. Unfortunately, that really sucks because I was really starting to like the little balance they were going with between him and Scatabo. But Scatabo clearly is the type of guy who I don't think he'll mind more carries, more load to help out his quarterback. So that's something I think they
CPE
could fall
himself.
back on. But I will say that offensive line does need to get together because if Derwin James comes right through the A gap or right through the B gap, he's gonna hurt Jackson Dart. So
Jahad Campbell Part 2.
yeah, they were like, oh my god, they shot Jackson Dart. That's what's gonna happen. Derwin James is gonna shoot Jackson Dart. So they got to be on their best behavior. But I mean, what did that one ESPN graphic? How can Miami beat the Bobcats tonight? LeBron wakes up. LeBron gets on the bus. LeBron shows up to the arena. I feel like that. But Justin Herbert wakes up. Justin Herbert gets on the plane. Justin Herbert suits up. He's just becoming one of those guys where if he is my quarterback, and I kind of always felt this way, but like now more than ever, it's because I know a lot of Herbert stands right now are like, no, he's always played this good. Y'all are just now noticing because he's 3-0. There's truth to that, but I'm also going to put the truth. I think he's playing the best ball of his career right now. Like, there is also that because, like I was saying before the year, we've seen him be ultra aggressive, put up big stats, and he turned the ball over a lot. We've seen him be a little less aggressive, but the turnovers went down. It's looking like both. It's looking like second-year Herbert combined with last-year Herbert, where he's not turning the ball over, and he's lighting everyone up. He's leading the league in yards. He's one pick so far. So,
Dare I
I
say,
think,
he's like a
yeah.
more mobile, younger Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know if I'd say Rodgers. I don't know. I think he takes a little bit more risk than Rodgers, to be entirely honest. And he's also not as accurate as Rodgers. You could argue no one will ever be as accurate as Rodgers.
He just
But
Peyton coded for real though.
he is very Peyton Manning coded. He's very Peyton Manning coded, but he got the wheels on him. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. He got
he's
way
getting
more athleticism than Peyton.
yeah. It's a long way to
Like
say it's getting to the point where
any
he's
injury Peyton.
yeah. It's getting to the point that if Herbert's my quarterback, I think he can win any football game, most football games. But yeah,
And the reality is, people were in the offseason were like, the Eagles would never. Someone said the Eagles would never say no to Justin Herbert being traded for Jalen Hurts. Bro, that's like saying, like it's a toss up. Like legitimately, I never like that.
I think once you get to like those top like 7 or 8 quarterbacks,
preference,
not even like those top 5 or 6 quarterbacks, it's kind of like the fan bases are like, that's our guy. Like, yeah, like we could get marginally better if we traded Hurts for Josh Allen, or maybe even they look way better, but it's like that's our guy. So like, it's no need. Even if we got better with Herbert,
the Commanders would never trade Jaden Daniels for Justin Herbert, and that's the reality.
Yeah, no, and Herbert is better, but it's like
Herbert's
that's our guy.
better.
That guy got us out the mud. No, we're gonna stay with him. So let's move to Jalen Hurts.
Like trading people who is their guy.
Yes, but let's move to a guy that the Browns traded, and the Eagles.
Exactly. That's why
we're just talking about their guy. Eagles Bucs. The Eagles in the Hurts Sirianni era are 1-4 against Tampa Bay. Now I'm gonna add context. All 4 of the losses, AJ Brown either just wasn't there yet or he was hurt. First ever playoff game, Jalen Hurts at 23 years old got absolutely mugged by the reigning champs. It was very bad. But then the next couple times they see each other, huh?
Darius Slay also got mugged.
Yeah, Darius Slay got put in a body bag by Mike Evans, and that's always been the case. But the next time they see each other, actually, isn't all the way until 2023. Eagles win, and AJ Brown has like 132 yards. And
DeAndre Swift game, I remember that.
Yeah, was it the DeAndre Swift game, or was it the Jason Kelce Landon Dickerson game? Because we remember the screenshots of the running lanes that he was given. And then since then, AJ Brown has not got to play him in the playoffs. He wasn't there. Brian Johnson meltdown year, they get throttled. And then early last year, no Smitty or Brown, Eagles get throttled. So,
oh my God, Saquon had him back in the game for about a minute, and then they're like, "Nah, let's pull away."
Yeah. Oh, I am forgetting one. There's 2 losses that AJ Brown wasn't there yet. They were both in Jalen Hurts' first year as a starter. First game was a little bit better than the playoff game, though. But regardless, AJ Brown's going to be playing. Defense has holes at the moment, obviously, with Nolan Smith going on IR, but I think offensively is kind of where it needs to be. That's kind of always been the thing with the Bucs. Look, they're going to score on us. They have tremendous offensive talent. The Eagles just need to compete on offense. It's going to be hot down there. Enough of me rambling. Let me go to you. Probably your 2 favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts.
No, I like Drake May more than Mayfield, but
really? Oh my God. The game's gone soft.
I love Drake May.
Come on. You love these California-looking white boys. What happened to the old rugged guys?
I'm big on K1 as well. Big K1 guy.
Oh. Get football Devin Booker out of your top 5s immediately.
They're not my top 5.
You know I'm still K1 fan club, but that brother needs to start hooping. But anyway, back to Baker and Hurts. Which quarterback do you believe needs to play better for their team to win, given how things have played out so far this season. Obviously, you can look at the Eagles and be like, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play good for them to win. But we haven't necessarily looked at a game and been like, Saquon's been great. So how do you feel on that one? Which quarterback needs to show out more?
Yeah, I think teams are selling out to stop Saquon Barkley. And the Eagles, Kevin Patullo, responded by saying, yeah, we're just going to run into the 8-man box for the first 3 games. And then the second half of the third game, they said, you know what? I'm going to trust our top 7 quarterback in the NFL. I'm going to say top 7 because some people think he's at 7. He's at lowest 7. And I'm going to let him throw the ball. I'm going to let him call his audibles. Hurts went actually to Patullo and said, I am calling these plays, essentially. He went him to him, he curled him out on the sideline and said, I'm calling these plays now. And they won the game because of it. Jalen Hurts has to be Jalen Hurts. And that is not him running the ball around. That's not him doing the tush push. That's letting him be the best game manager in the NFL. And that's why he's Tom Brady coded, because he's one of the best players at reading defenses, at identifying defenses pre-snap. His athleticism is top tier, but his mental is also top tier. But in the same regard, I think Baker Mayfield means more to the Bucs to win this game. The Bucs have so much injuries right now. They have so many people injured, whether it's on the defensive line, whether it's on the offensive line, whether it's Mike Evans being out and Chris Godwin still yet to debut. There's so many people out on the Bucs. Baker almost has to carry this Bucs team to a win. They have Igbuka, they have other young guys that could make plays, but if you think back to the last time the Eagles played the Bucs early last season, Cade Otton gave them hell. Can't have it. Can't have that happen. Can't have a tight end who's a middle of the tier pack guy give you hell. So Baker, you have to put the team on the back. At the same time, don't let Bucky Irving beat you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think something that's been killing the Eagles through the first couple of games, low key, has been the rushing defense. Javonte Williams had a good game, and then the Chiefs didn't, but I'd be damned if they did. And then Kyron Williams and Blake Corum have a solid day on the ground against Philly. So Bucky Irving and Rashad White can give them a little bit of scares, along with Baker Mayfield has just been an absolute dissector against this defense. So, with no Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin coming back, I believe, they'll probably have, kind of run the same thing they did last week. They'll put Quignon on Godwin, and then Cooper DeJean will probably track Igbuka in the slot. So I'm really excited for this one. This is probably, and the both teams are still banged up, but probably the healthiest that this matchup has looked in a couple of years. So I'm excited for this one. And I do agree. Baker does mean more to his team, because if we get a Baker that starts unraveling, turning the ball over, they have no shot. At the same time,
he hasn't been that in years at all.
Yeah, that is true. And that is true. But he does still have that tendency is turned into just taking bad sacks. That's kind of what it's turned into. And I'd prefer that over turning the ball over, of course.
Well, the issue is he's Josh Allen's mind in Jalen Hurts' body. And I'm not saying running ability wise, I'm just talking about height, stature, and like.
Fair enough. But Jalen, I think really the more the pressure is on Patullo to have a good game, because I think he has to realize, like I was saying on the last episode, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts were like, we need to stop playing to lose, or not to lose. We need to stop playing with the assumption that we're just trying to run clock all game. No, like we are arguably the greatest roster ever assembled, and we need to go act like that. We need to put teams in the dirt early. So very interested to see how Kevin Patullo comes out on his first 10 or 15 scripted plays. So that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be absolutely electric. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be a hot one. Let's move to another NFC East team, probably the one with the most feels in this one. Cowboys, Packers.
Both coming off bad losses.
Horrible losses. Both coming off losses to the Browns and the Bears. It doesn't get worse than that.
Bottom feeders.
Yeah. I assume we'll both have the Packers are probably going to bounce back, and this Cowboys team is just battered and it's not looking good.
Sputtering.
But I guess the better question is, The better question, I would say Micah. How could this stack up among like revenge games ever?
I've never seen Micah get punked. That Browns offensive line punked him multiple times.
Yeah.
And that Browns offensive line is not good. And he was getting punked. So, in terms of revenge games, it's all about how bad do you want it. That's like Rodgers against the Jets. You see so many other people. You have this weird bad blood with an organization. You just want to go out there and prove them wrong. But Micah has an opportunity to go knock out his team, beat them while they're down. Say, Cowboys, your team got rid of me. Let me go take Dak Prescott out. Let me go. I'm not saying try to hurt him on purpose, but let me go hit him 15 times. Let me go beat your offensive line and show you what you're missing out on. And Donovan and Zerike, he won 0% pass rush win rate.
That's not good.
0%.
Huge on him before the draft, so that sucks.
I thought he was going to be decent. He had a 0% pass rush win rate last week, and that is pitiful against the Bears offensive line.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, first time he's never gotten sacked in a game.
And it makes sense because that Packers defense, that Cowboys defensive line looked atrocious.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean,
I'm hammering the Packers here, dude. I think the Packers, it's all day. This secondary's banged up. Matthew Golden's going for 100 yards.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily go pick this game because they're like, oh, how could Dallas is probably going to lose with no CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they really have any shot, but this is the NFL, and I locked the Packers last week, so I'd more kind of just wanted to talk about what you thought on Parsons versus his old team. But let's talk about two teams we don't really get to talk about too much on here. It's Panthers Patriots. Danny's got to see the Patriots last week. When they turned the ball over 5 times, and the Panthers won 30-0 against a division rival that they were favored to lose to. So, and was your hot take or your bold pick of the week last week, which you got right. So, Panthers Patriots, we're looking at 2 young quarterbacks who, Bryce had a solid game last week, nothing crazy. The fourth quarter in Arizona was nuts, but overall he's played more bad football than good so far this year. And Drake May has he's definitely been better than what he was at the end of last year. Not exactly the advertised quarterback just yet, but it looks like we're starting to get there. Both these teams are 1-2. I guess there's higher expectations for New England, but come on, we can be serious. They're not exactly expected to go win a Super Bowl here or anything, but which team do you believe gets a bigger morale boost with 2-2 instead of 1-3?
I think it's Patriots. I think the New England Patriots could be a playoff team. And I think that's proven by their game so far. If they get it together on offense and they don't fumble on the goal line, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers pretty handedly. The Miami Dolphins are better than people think. I know on offensively output, their defense is atrocious. So the Patriots putting 33 up, that's a good job. They should put 30 up if you're a decent team. And week 1, they lost to the Raiders, which is an unfortunate offensive output, but I think they're figuring it out. They put up 336 yards of offense with Keyshawn Booth putting up 100 yards. You can't really ask for more. I think the Patriots' issue is Stephon Diggs and Boot go out there and you don't realize they're in the game for half of the game. You don't hear their names being called. You don't see plays being dialed up for them. You see plays being dialed up for Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson. And that's not going to cut it in the NFL. McDaniel, Josh Daniels, McDaniels, what is his name?
Mike McDaniels?
No. Josh McDaniels. Is it Daniels or McDaniels?
Yeah, Josh McDaniels, yes.
Yeah. He just needs to be better. He needs to draw play. Drake May has all of the skills to run this offense, and he's been proving this already. He's played really great. He had a couple unfortunate turnovers against the Steelers. One was a tipped interception. The other one was a fumble. He's trying to create. later in the game. And even with those 5 turnovers, they had the ability to win the game if Pop Douglas just got to the sticks on 4th down, which he didn't. This Patriots team is good. It could make the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs at this point. They have a very favorable schedule coming up. If they win this game, they're 2-2. You have the Bills, very hard team. Book it as a loss probably. Then they have the Saints, Titans, and Browns. You could be 5-3.
Yeah, that's pretty favorable, I would say, going forward at this rate.
Yeah,
I think I agree.
At the end of October, if they're 5-3, we have to start considering them as a potential real team. Even if they haven't beat a real team, you have to consider looking at them as a potential real team.
Yeah, and I'm more excited that it's looking like Christian Gonzalez is going to be back, and it's very much needed because Tedero McMillan was going to destroy the secondary. So that's going to be a good matchup to watch. But yeah, I think at least on a Panthers side of things, if Bryce Young can, have a decent day, I think it's really important. He's one of the most confidence-based players in the entire NFL. And the Patriots don't have Milton Williams has been a monster, so that's something he's going to have to look out for.
If Milton Williams gets his paws on Bryce Young, it might be GG.
Yeah, so he's going to have to be real creative this week. It's going to be a tough matchup, but let's move on to the last game we're going to talk about, which would be Colts Rams. Rams are coming off a devastating loss to Philadelphia, blew a 19-point lead. Colts are 3-0. But also devastating, they did have to punt for the first time. So talk about this one. I mean, these are two teams that use a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of play action. What do you think a 4-0 start does for Indy, at least in terms of the AFC playoff picture?
I mean, I think a 4-0 start essentially locks up the division, in my opinion. And you're gonna be like, oh, how does that happen when they've only played one of the teams in the division so far? The Jags haven't looked good. They're 2-1. They haven't looked good. The Texans look awful, and the Titans look awful. So if you go 4-0, congratulations. You have the Raiders and Cardinals right afterwards. So you could really be 6-0 going to playing the Chargers in week 7. Yeah, I think you wrap up the division if you go start 4-0.
Yeah, I'd have to agree at this rate for sure. And then as for the Rams, I think it's really important that they need they don't need a bounce back win, but it'd be very nice. You just got whooped by your quote rival. It's not a rivalry, but you got whooped by them again.
It's not a rivalry. They always beat our ass.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's looking like. But the Niners just went 2-0 without their quarterback, so they're sitting at 3-0
tight end and wide receivers.
And yes, everyone is hurt over there, and they walk through the fire 3-0.
And Nick Bosa's
and you're 2-1. So I think it's just really like in for the race for the division. Somebody, we're recording this on a Wednesday. Somebody tomorrow, Seahawks, Cardinals, another one of them is going to move to 3-1. So, you definitely don't want to get behind the 8 ball in this division. This is not the division to be doing that. So I think they need this win bad.
I wonder if there's any correlation behind teams being 2-1 teams playing each other in week 3. If
winner of that,
the correlation, winner of it making the playoffs versus loser making the playoffs.
I'm sure there's some Reddit guy who keeps track of all that.
I don't want to put it past him. Something going on, but
yeah, we can get into these rapid fire picks. I do have Chris's selections on hand, so I will announce them for him as well. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. Me and Chris already kind of said Seahawks yesterday. So, Danny, who are you going with? Seahawks versus Cardinals.
I'm going with Seattle as well. I think that Sam Darnold could pick apart this defense, but very, very well. I heard the reinforcements are coming in for the Seahawks very soon. So Witherspoon and it's gonna be big.
Boys are back in town. They're saying. All right, next game: Vikings, Steelers. I have Steelers. Chris has Vikings.
I have Pittsburgh in a very close game, like a 24-21 type of game. I think Mike Tomlin thrives against these defenses. These quarterbacks who are rookies. Carson Wentz is a rookie in my opinion because he hasn't played in forever.
Next game, Commanders, Falcons. Me and Chris have Commanders.
Give me the Falcons. I think they bounce back.
Saints, Bills. I have the Bills. Chris has the Bills.
3 across.
Easy Bills pick. Lions are hosting the Browns. Me and Chris both have the Lions. Chris, I'll get to Chris's stuff later.
Yeah, give me the Lions. I think
easy.
The spread's 10 points. So if we were picking spreads, it'd be different.
Next game, Panthers versus Patriots. I have the Pats. Chris has the Panthers.
I also have the Patriots.
All right. Next game, Chargers versus Giants. Me and Chris have Chargers.
Go, Chargers, go.
Next game, Eagles versus Bucs. Me and Chris have the Eagles.
Also have the Eagles getting it done in Tampa for the first time. I think the Bucs are too banged up.
Titans versus Texans. I have the Texans. Chris has the Titans getting their first win.
I also have the Titans getting their first win. This Texans team is bad.
Oh, I'm starting to every time I feel like I've lone wolfed against you guys, I lost. I did win the Niners last week, but otherwise it's been rough. Colts versus Rams. So Colts versus Rams. Me and Chris both have the Rams.
I also have the Rams.
Yeah, but the Colts win, man. We got to start talking.
It's gonna be a good game because Jonathan Taylor is a monster.
He's gonna probably have the rushing title this year. Jaguars versus 49ers. I have the Niners. Chris has the Jags.
I also have the Niners.
Ravens versus Chiefs. Me and Chris have the Ravens.
I'm good. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, he's lone wolfing the Chiefs. How many times in the last 5 years has that happened? Probably none. Probably never. Bears versus Raiders. Me and Chris got Chicago.
I picked the Raiders the last 2 weeks and they haven't won. And I'm going to go against that. I'm going to pick the Bears.
All right, we're clean sweeping the Bears, hoping for a Caleb performance. Another big one. Packers versus Cowboys. Me and Chris got Packers.
Lock it. Packers.
Jets. Here are the Monday night games. Jets versus Dolphins. I have the Fins. Chris has the Jets, and you can't pick tie. You have the Jets. All right, y'all got the Jets, and then Broncos, Bengals. We both got the Broncos.
I have the Bengals.
All right. Now let's move on to these bold picks and lockets. For Chris, he had his hot take as the Panthers over the Pats, and then the Lions taking care of business against the Browns. And you technically should have got first pick because you won the pick'ems again with, I believe, another 13-3. It was 12-4, 13-3 record. It was marvelous. Once more, that would say actually real quick. So through 2 weeks of picks, Chris is 24-8. Danny is 25-7, leading the way, and I'm 20-12, so I'm behind the ball. But they also nailed their bold picks last week. I did not, and I also managed to have the first bad lock of the season. So, not a great week for me last week, but
the lock ended in a pretty treacherous fashion as well.
Yeah, in horrible fashion. The Packers will pay. But you have first dibs on hot and lock, at least between or bold pick and lock it between the two of us.
What was his bold pick?
He had the Panthers over the Pats for his bold pick, and then his locket was Lions over the Browns.
Yeah, my lock is going to be Chargers over Giants, and my bold pick is going to be the Titans over the Texans. I actually made a couple bold picks, but I think Titans might be the biggest. I guess I could always shoot. The other ones I chose were Falcons over Commanders and Bengals over Broncos. But I think choosing a little Cam Ward action, bouncing back against division rival from last week, I like it.
Gotcha. Yeah, for mine, I gotta go to my notes because I had a very specific. The Steelers are actually dogs against the Vikings. So I'm going to pick them for my bold pick. I feel like they're the safest team you could ever pick for something like this. And I have the Bills over the Saints for my lock. I wish I could lock
15.5 point favorites. When is the last time you could heard a team be 15.5-point favorites? I don't know.
15 and a half. I remember last year, I think the Ravens had the Browns at like a 14 and a half. That's the
15
closest
and a
thing.
half is nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But our bold picks this week, I have the Steelers beating the Vikings. Chris has the Panthers over the Pats, and you have the Titans beating the Texans. Texans will fall to 0-4 in that case. And then as for our lockets, I have the Bills over the Saints. Chris has Lions over the Browns, and then you have the Chargers over the Giants in darts. First start in the NFL, and that is our entire Week 4 preview. Yeah, we're recording this on Wednesday, so if any of these picks look stupid in 2 days, not my fault. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review from AP New Freezer, DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.